Welcome back to another episode of Target Acquired Podcasting. This is your host, Jeremy. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about new releases coming out at the end of January, along with Adepticon that's going to be at the end of March. Let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
Hey, it's Crossroads. You can catch me on the Discord.
This is Swooper. It goes by Swooper on the Discord and everything else, basically.
This is Sean, because I'm not going by fake names.
That's all I go by.
It's Reynolds Rap.
It is Reynolds Rat, for those of you who care.
Yeah, people do care though. So, all right, well, let's get started. First things first, new releases coming out towards the end of the month. We have Elsa and Man-Thing in a box, and we have Yondu and Nova in their own box. So, thoughts on Elsa and Man-Thing? I know it's going to be a new leader for the Midnight Suns. A lot of good things on her card, and I know a lot of good attention. People are talking about wanting to play her a lot, so I think she's going to be on the board a lot coming up. Crossroads, what's your thoughts on her?
I think she's pretty solid. I mean, it's definitely a new way of playing Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns always struggled with, do you want to take Blade? Because he felt as more of a hindrance. His leadership ability is amazing, but Blade as a character has always felt a little lackluster. I think Elsa brings something new. She brings something interesting. We've seen the ability to ignore damage reduction with Namor, so being able to see that more, and then having the explosion or the root, a lot of versatility.
I think she's really good. I still think Blade's really good. I think Bump is so unbelievably good that it outweighs a lot of the other stuff that she puts out. It's hard. I think she's really good, but I still think you want Bump.
So do you think it's just another side of the coin? So Bump's really good for a lot of moving shenanigans, getting around the board a lot.
That's every game.
And then
every game you need movement shenanigans to be good. So it works in every single game you play. That leadership is going to be on point and amazing. There's never a time that Bump's bad.
No, I mean, Bump is always good to get some kind of movement out of it. Do you think it's as needed or as prevalent if you're playing more of an attrition style down the middle?
Yes.
You think you would take her more in that situation?
If you're playing attrition down the middle, you want Bump.
But you're not going to be having to spread out as much. Once the first round's over.
Save your actions for the attrition. That's what Bump's for.
Yeah, that's actually where you would want Blade.
Correct.
Is the down the middle ones. Elsa gives it a new dimension that you don't have to play the aggressive down the middle play or aggressive Hulk grabbing a hammer on your opponent's side turn one.
I feel like Elsa's for the spread out map.
Yes.
Where Blade is for the down the middle.
Do you think it makes a difference based on who you're also bringing along with them? Well,
you bring totally different characters between the
because
two.
you're doing two different things.
Doing two different things, and Bump is always going to benefit anything on a medium and a large base more than any small base.
Well, most of the Midnight Suns seem to be on either large or medium bases, correct?
You're pretty mixed on most things, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the monsters now kind of change.
All the monsters are medium, but all the OG characters, the Iron Fists, the
Black Cat,
Wong if you want them.
Wong, Mummy.
You'll
So have Hulks, Ghost Rider, on the larger bases.
Right. Yeah, those are where...
is on a medium, I think, yeah.
Sure, but
Yeah, so
those are the ones that will benefit from the Bump leadership versus Elsa. I mean, she's really good. I still haven't gotten it on the board yet. I really want her and Loki next to each other, and just to see how much people hate having double root on them. Going against the Thanos, the big boogeyman menace of Red Skull 3, yeah, have fun.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think she's really good. I think you could go either way. I think either both in your 10.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you take both of them every time, and then you're just like, hey, if I have to play Researcher and Demons, play Blade.
Yeah, what she really does allow is that you do not need to flex dual leadership Midnight Suns anymore. It's just Midnight Suns. You don't need the Defenders package in there anymore.
now, were you guys surprised at the leadership? Did we have any clue that it was going to be what it was?
I mean, I couldn't have guessed it was going to be exactly this, but I knew it was going to be some kind of hunting theme, because that's her whole thing when she's a monster hunter. So giving her different ammunitions to hunt that monster is pretty damn good. It's pretty themey.
I think seeing that it is a choice kind of leadership, I wonder if down the road, if they do decide on other leaders or other affiliations, if that's something they're going to start mixing into everything. Starting to see it now on cards. I think what the first instance of it was Shang-Chi, seeing the either or.
You can say an instance of everything on Shang-Chi because that has.
But was that the first?
No, I mean, Redskins 2 has the ability to choose its attack types, if that's what you're talking about, mystical,
Really, it's
physical.
type, more so having choices of, like, for Shang-Chi, once you're done doing the attack, you can do this or you can do that.
Like Namor.
Yeah, like Namor's attack is you choose one of these options when you do the attack. That was something that's just now recently starting to be a thing. Is this being the first instance of it being on a leadership? Will it potentially pop up on other leaders down the road?
I mean, it's totally possible. They have a lot of design space to grow in. Game's still in its infancy, to be honest with you. So they have nothing but choices on the AMG side.
Now, along with her card, her one running gun was very interesting to me that it wasn't just a once per turn. So she does have some really good moving shenanigans to get around the board if she needs to, especially with having a range 4 attack. She could potentially get halfway across the board and be able to target anybody on a given turn.
I mean, it's not once per turn, but it's still an action.
Well, yes, but you're still getting your attacks off with it. So you're basically getting 2 attacks and 2 moves in a turn, which is really nice for most situations. Now, do you guys...
I mean, I think it's all right. I don't think it's anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's game changing, really.
No.
Not amazing, but just seeing that they allowed for it to be out, not a once per turn power.
Yeah, I put her on the board
That's
a few
great.
times now. She actually does surprisingly seem to have an issue with power economy. So you will not have that on play every single turn. You might do that once. But between her spending for her leadership, she's not the most tanky thing in the world. So if she is getting focused, you will probably be spending the defense, modify rerolls. It's good. It's just I don't think it's broken by any means.
Do you think she would make a good splash character in the sense of, because of the abilities that she has with stopping people from reducing damage or healing in their turn?
Not really. I think she's a great leader, but I don't think she's a splash character. We can talk about the new Guardian coming out, and we can talk about the other character in that box. Those are splash characters.
Yeah, so next one in the box is Man-Thing. My thoughts on him, I believe he's a very good 3 for what he does. I do love that he has almost like a mini scalp, like how Doctor Strange would. The incinerating is very nice on him. Where else do you think you would end up seeing him outside of Midnight Suns?
I actually want to take a try and run him in Criminals.
Okay.
I want to try him under Kingpin. I think it'd be interesting with the extra movement. He is a little on the tanky side. It helps control the board a little
The
bit.
healing factor helps a lot.
Yeah.
John, what are your thoughts on Man-Thing?
I think he's like incredibly slow. So he's on a medium base. He moves short, and like the scalpel costs 3. You don't generate extra power.
No.
So you probably not even getting it.
No, and his builder is not
Correct. It's not great. It's 5 dice at range 3. They're not like, I mean, he's pretty like defensive. You get the healing factor, you're immune to hex and stun. You don't get to explode your crits. All that sounds great. I don't know how I feel about him.
He's a great point holder. I think his card is actually the biggest thing with him. His card is great.
The Quagmire card.
Oh my God, that thing is...
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing any roster with displacement and you play his card, you can punt characters across the board. Because it doesn't have to be them that moves outside of 3. You push someone outside of 3, you then can kick them to the other side of the board if you want to.
Yeah.
It is so much displacement that you get out of this card. It's one turn, but it can be a quite disturbing or disrupting turn.
Right. Some long mover decides to move out, is already on the edge of that 3, moves out of that 3. You place that long mover back
On
with
the other side.
3 on the completely other side.
Correct. So you moved him a 3 plus a medium base plus another 3.
Right. You're talking like, 3/4 of the board of a movement, basically.
I think he's a good potato, and I really want to try him with my fist.
I could see him.
I can, in Criminals, especially if you're playing with Fisk, I think he's great. Anything that plays that kind of, we want to sit here and hold a point style, he's great at.
Yeah, on Witnesses with Mayor Fisk being immune to stun and having the healing factor, he's great to go up there and sit on those points.
I debated on putting him in Brotherhood because when you throw the stuff around, you destroy the terrain. It gives him that power so that way you're able to use that scalpel, which allows you to teleport Magneto, Juggernaut. things like that back up while he's also holding the back line and handing out Incinerate.
Crits don't explode against him when he's attacked, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's got some very good defensive tools in there.
From the auto incinerate, it's just
Yeah, that really does it.
Yeah, he seems decent. He doesn't seem bad. He doesn't seem breaking. He seems pretty good. He'll definitely see the table.
absolutely. Most rosters could slot him in.
Mhm.
I think we'll probably see.
He probably makes Defenders rosters. He probably makes Midnight Suns rosters.
Let's just make it up a number. I think we'll probably see 20% roster representation on him.
It's a random percent.
It's a completely random percentage. I could even go up to 25, but I'm not going to a single percentage up higher than that.
Reynolds rep percentage.
Well, it's 15% up 25.
There you go.
So,
Let's go to Yondu next. Let's save
Okay.
Nova.
all right. So yeah, you're into it. So what about Yondu?
He seems all right. I was really surprised he wasn't a leader though. I thought that was a big mistake.
Yeah, I would have loved to see her.
Yeah, another Guardians leader. He should have been leader with the Ravengers as like his keyword basically. I thought that was a big miss.
So I know it's something I wouldn't want in the game because I don't like the leadership tactics cards, but will there be possibly a tactics cards for them if they bring out other Ravager characters? So
Any
like,
other Ravager character would just be a Guardian of the Galaxy. So it's a subtype of Ravager. So like when you look at Crime Syndicate, you have Daredevil, Shadowlands Daredevil, his Crime Syndicate's called something specific. Then you have MODOK Crime Syndicate, his is AIM. So like when you have like Uncanny X-Men, Cyclops is Team Blue, Storm is Gold Team. They're two separate things, but they're technically still X-Men. So Ravengers would technically still be Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're Ravengers as a smaller subsection.
So I think what Jeremy was trying to get at with that question was kind of like they released Weapon X later on and Wolverine became a option for a leader. Would a card come out in the future with a future Ravengers pack that would allow Yondu to in the future become a...
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. There's more important characters that haven't been released yet.
So I didn't realize the Ravengers themselves because my knowledge of Guardians is only based on the MCU, unfortunately. So all
That's
those
most people's. So
all those Ravager affiliations out there when they did all like the funeral, spoiler alert, when Yondu dies and they have all like the shots going off of fireworks. I thought they all were a part of some group, the Ravengers group, but that wasn't Guardian stuff.
does he die
Yondu dies.
in the third one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the third one.
I don't know. Spoiler alert, sorry.
That's what I was giving that face of.
If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it by now,
I haven't saw it either.
well, surprise.
I could care less.
Yeah. But so they always made it seem like that group was just like piratey kind of space pirates and they weren't really a part of the Guardians, and I thought they were just outside of that.
Are you saying you're surprised that Disney brought in pirates?
Now, maybe we can get a Space Pirates ride. So
I do like all of his abilities that have to do with like the objectives. So like the Ravager code, steal everything. When the character within 2 of this character would drop 1 or more objectives, this character meets a superpower, move 1 objective token from the chosen character's whole. It's mission objective on a character for 1 power. It's pretty solid.
It is.
Then he gets rerolls when he is contesting a secure objective, so that's awesome. I think his card also has something to do with objectives.
His card, I think, is 1 reroll to anyone that attacks.
The allied character may reroll up to 2 dice in the attack roll. So if you're doing that, plus you already have the winging it token, there's a decent amount of rerolls.
There's some good cards there. I don't know if you really prioritize his card.
Well, I mean, they got rid of some other...
They did get rid of the crew, and
I mean, the biggest thing that everyone's going to end up talking about on his card is that spender, and
well, the spender.
what it does, how good is it going to be? It's almost like another Nightcrawler. Oh my God, look at this
It's
thing.
not though. We went through.
Overhyped was Nightcrawler.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, it literally has a stipulation in there. You can only get hit once by that spender. So even if you have the power to spend it again, it doesn't matter. You can target the same character a second time with actually spending the power to use the spender, but then no one else that's already been hit by it will get hit off the bounce.
Yeah. So I mean, but it gives you multiple times, I guess, in a turn to be able to chain react it.
Yeah, you get a couple chances at it. I mean, it was fine.
I think just having the range 5.
And the range 5 is actually what I like the most about him.
Range 5 dice energy, ignores cover, and gives out slow. That's
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, Guardians is pretty much energy when like they are the energy affiliation, it seems. So
It was just the range, other than not having to have only a raccoon as your only range 5.
Right, now you have a raccoon and Yondu sitting in your back line.
Yes.
Bam, bam.
was Star-Lord range 4 with his shots?
I thought he was range
I
3.
think he's 4 now.
Because I thought a good bit of the characters on that team now were going to be 4s and 5s for range.
I can look it up, but it's been a hot minute since I played Guardians.
Yeah, I don't play Guardians. While you look that up, we can go on to who I think is the winner out of the group.
Nova?
It is
His 4. I really like Nova. I think Nova is really neat theme-wise and everything. I think his card fits really well. Like how I really like Rhino is my like best example of what card in the game shows the best version of like what that comic book character should be on the table. Rhino is like my prime example. Rhino's the perfect character. He does everything the guy in the comic books you would do. I feel like Nova's card is very close, very good. The his spender, where he zips all over the place like a beam 5. My only problem with that is I wish you had to end your movement at the furthest character. That's my only like flaw.
Yeah, I understand why it's the last character hit, because it's like him going through everyone and then stopping after moving at light speed.
Yeah, but I think it's silly that you can go all the way to the end of your 5 marker and then work your way back, because you get to choose who you hit first.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's a minor little thing.
And also, it because of the dice increase, if you moved before doing that, you also have to be very deliberate on your first target.
Correct.
So you might want to place 1 within that target, but you want the extra 3 dice on that target as well.
What are you doing? You have 4/4/4 for defenses, 7 health on both sides, I think. And he's immune to incinerate, so his defenses don't even drop down. So he's always going to be a 4/4/4.
And this is the second instance of a character that when they take a move action, they gain power and dice to an attack. Juggernaut being the first time it's ever happened. So I like to see that came back in some kind of form on another character.
And I do have to give AMG a lot of credit on when they designed this character, because if they had done the +3 dice to the gravimetric cannon, that would have been too much.
You imagine.
I know.
You get 9 dice on this range 4 thing that hands out judgment and pushes.
And pushes. I mean, honestly, I love him as a control piece more than a damage.
Yeah, I mean, just pushing without a
Yeah.
trigger on range 4, you are like Iron Man. You're better than Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time when I was moving him, I was just doing the cannon anyways and not even taking the +3 dice just because I wanted to push.
Right. I think that the Nova Blast definitely comes in handy when you're up. It's like, somebody's up close and personal to me. Let me throw them away, and then push them with the cannon.
And also being able to throw size 4
Oh, yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he's definitely very splashable too. I don't know where I would splash him.
I don't know. I mean, he's a great control piece, right?
Right.
I
I think Spider Foes is a neat place to put him. Spider Foes like to be very control-y.
see him working in Spider Foes.
So even Web Warriors. That's, I think, is the best place for him now that I think about it. With his card.
His card is freaking busted. The call for backup.
Yeah, the unlimited range
Unlimited
card.
range card. 3 power. Just take a move and you got it.
And 3 power should be easy.
this is also Guardian's second character that's immune to incinerate.
Who's the first? Cosmic?
Bittery Bill. Oh, it's got
I would assume.
I'd assume Cosmic is also.
Cosmic is immune to instant.
that's his third character.
Yep.
New Demons Downtown team.
Just what we want.
Yeah, it's just anybody holding an extract. Stop, citizen. Bam, you got slow.
Yep.
All webbed up this turn. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, he seems pretty solid.
I mean, webs usually don't want to be taking a 5 cost splash.
I don't know. I think it'd be all right. You're taking Amazing Spider-Man, Miles, and him, so you're only at 13 points right there. That's not bad.
Depends on the mission, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll have an issue with gaining enough power to do the things he wants to do?
No, he's fine for power.
No, because he's getting power from the movement, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be at 3 if you're spending the power on stuff. He'll be at 3 power every turn. So I didn't know if that would, you're now juggling. Do I save that power to try to get up to my beam, or do I spend it on some of their?
Almost think like I like the beam. I think the beam's cool. It's like, oh, if I got days or something, I use the beam. But I don't think you're like saving up for the beam.
Yeah, I think the beam is just
Extra.
an opportunity cost, right? You have to. Your opponent has a threat of. I probably don't want to put 3 characters in a line with each other, but I mean, half the time I think you're just spending 2 power to do a place on him, and you're doing 2 gravimetric cannons on him every turn. That's it.
The constant, the free pushes is ridiculous.
And bonus judgment, why not?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing on his card that I can just say that doesn't look good.
I mean,
good.
The pay to reroll. I don't know how often you're ever going to use it.
I think the pay to reroll is a trap.
It is.
I think
You do want the power on him.
I mean, it looks good as a bonus because you're already probably going to have wing it tokens on him, right? So he's going to have to wing it. And then do you really need to use the rerolls then at that point?
That's only going to come up to, like, if it's a two. Like, I have a character with 2 hammers and you did exactly enough to kill him, and I really need him to live, so I'm going to spend some dice to try to keep him to live.
Yeah.
And it is nice that it does work on dodge rolls. So
Yeah.
And it should with him, I feel like, especially zip zapping all over the place. I think he's also a really good like example of what we could get for Cannonball. Like if Cannonball doesn't have that exact same fucking beam attack, that's what I want.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, both boxes coming out at the end of January. I think they're both going to be really great. I know I'm picking up the Elsa and the Man-Thing one.
I think they're both solid pickups. I don't think you ignore either one.
No, the Guardians one is just not I don't have any Guardians. It's not my play style.
Yeah.
I can always borrow yours, right?
Sure. Just like everything else.
But yeah, so I mean, going from that into, we have Adepticon coming up at the end of March. I know the 3 of you are going to it. I will be unfortunately not going this year, but you all are kind of participating in multiple tournaments, whether it be a team tournament or the singles. Timeline as well, I believe. So I guess I'll start with Gary / Crossroads here. Like, what are you participating in, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so I'm participating in the main tournament, the main singles tournament, and then I'm also doing the timeline. It'll be interesting to see. This is my first time playing timeline. I'm excited for it. I picked my teams already, got my shopping list all ready to go. Next couple months, I'm going to be buying some guys. Got a lot of painting to do.
So much painting.
Yeah, a lot of painting.
It's a lot.
Thankfully, I used to play Black Order, so some of my Black Order's already painted. So, hey, spoiler alert, I'm taking Black Order. And to round it out, I'm also going with Guardians and probably some semblance of Defender Midnight Sun mixture. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's a great time. I'm sure it'll be some great games. I'm sure it'll be competitive. So I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. All right. John, what are you doing when you're there? Potentially who are you taking?
I'm signed up for a whole bunch of stuff. This will actually be also Gary's first Adepticon. Me and Philon have been multiple times.
Cool.
I'm signed up for the singles. Me and Reynolds Rap here will be doing the doubles together. I'm signed up for Timeline, and I'm signed up for the Sunday affiliation battle. So most likely for like singles and affiliation, I'm probably going Shield for both because they're painted. They're painted, and it's my main thing I play.
Easy choice.
Right. So that'll knock those ones out. The doubles, we haven't really decided yet. We got some ideas going. We want to definitely make it themey, try to do a little bit extra with them, have a board, something like that. Timeline, I'm so undecided. I'm pretty sure Brotherhood is going to be a definite. Because with the addition before Timeline happens, we should have, because they're on the Timeline list, we should have Exodus, Avalanche, and Lady Mastermind. So that's 3 new characters to play with, and I've been dying for Avalanche to come out ever since Blob and Pyro came out. He's like the third in that little trio that just never made it, so I'm excited for him. My other one I'm thinking is Cabal. I don't really know why, but I guess you get
Malekith, huh?
Nah, you get Red Skull 2 in there, and I think that's a good place to put him. I think Malekith's still okay. I don't really know why, honestly. It's my big choice.
Malekith is the only leader, though, right? So you're going to take on a leaderless Cabal?
No, you take Malekith.
Oh, so you are going to take Malekith in every roster. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Malekith goes every time, and I think you put in Red Skull, too, as like another character.
Strong 12. Well,
that's right. That's not messing around 12 right there.
4, why not?
And you have the Hydra Troopers to take that back point for you, while Malekith and Red Skull are running around being a menace, So
I'm also just not playing portals.
That's true. I'm definitely putting Wrecking Crew in. I love those models. I've had a lot of fun playing those models. I think they're going to go in my Brotherhood, though, just for that. We destroy stuff, passing around terrains. We basically have Juggernaut and Wrecking Crew. First turn, both bulldozing, destroying stuff, giving each other power to make the other one bulldoze. And it just keeps going down the chain.
Well, keep in mind, we saw the boards last year at Adepticon. Most of them were very terrain light.
Yeah, it's going to suck if that happens again.
Yeah. So, I mean, keep that in mind. That's a gamble.
Just grab from the left and right.
Well, what you can do is when we get there, you can audible because the lists are not locked until the day of time.
Right.
You just make up 4 lists, 40 characters.
Oh, there you go.
The Wrecking Crew's coming.
One way or the other. You can just swap which affiliation it went into.
My third affiliation, I'm not sure either, I'm looking at Apocalypse, possibly, because I love the model, and I haven't played it yet, but it seems like it's pretty strong. And Inhumans is another option because they're getting 4 new models, and that's what it's like, I don't know what it could be. You're getting a brand new Black Bolt, a new leader, Karnak and Gorgon. They're all like pretty strong characters in the comic books. It's like King Black Bolt. You think he's going to be higher points?
He's going to be at least a 5.
You think he's going to be the same points as the current?
It's going to be a minimum of 5. I think
Minimum
it's going to be a 6, though.
I think Maximus will be a 4 leader.
No, King is not a leader.
No.
It's just
Maximus.
Okay.
I think Maximus, the new leader, his brother, is going to be a 4.
Then you think King will be a 6?
No, that mod might be
a 6.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's got fucking lightning going everywhere. He's on a bigger base.
I mean, I could see it because, I mean, they did the same thing with Black Panther, right? When they did King T'Challa, they bumped up his cost by 1.
Yeah, but then they made Champion of Bast.
Is Maximus like rumored to be their new?
It says so. It's like
It is always there that he is the new leader.
Okay.
that's what gave it away, was the timeline thing gave away who was going to be. That's why I know for like Brotherhood, I can't believe Exodus isn't a leader. That's crazy. How's he not a leader for Acolytes? But he's not because it's on paper.
No, what's crazy is they don't have Toad. That's what's crazy to me.
Well, they took out all the meta models.
He could be a card-based leader, though, and the card could just not be in timeline.
No, see, so that you would think that, yes. However, Dracula was on this list originally, had the leadership little token on him, even though he uses a card. They took that away because he uses a card. So that makes me think that if those other characters were leaders with cards, it would have already been on there, is what I'm assuming.
No, because Namor never had it, and Namor shields leadership.
Oh, he never had it.
He never had it.
Okay. Maybe then we do get a Exodus leader and it's just a card.
I wish we would stop with the cards.
Only timeline will tell.
Oh, and it'll be like, I don't know when they come out either. It'll be, because it's got to be pretty close to
So they did this to us last year, and the X-Men released, I think it was 3 weeks before Adepticon. They released at the end of February.
At least it's 3 weeks.
Oh my God, like a week before, and you have to get them all painted in one go.
Oh, did it last year for the X-Men release.
Yep, because it was what, Iceman, Bishop, Professor X, Shadowcat, all those ones came out.
Oh, and you're Shadow King. You can't leave him out.
You know what the worst part's going to be is I will have already bought these models and I have already painted them for timeline. We're going to get them in our swag bags again.
I know. That's
Oh, well, thank you for the gift. I appreciate it.
And I ain't get shit. Christmas. That's your Christmas.
Oh,
gift.
thank you.
Yep.
No,
That'll be your Christmas gifts from May for this past year.
I hate to see it be a situation where you only have a week to work on the models for painting. I hate being rushed to paint.
You just, being rushed to paint, I think you just have to accept it. Like, just base coat what you can just to get them on the table. And then that way you can go back and work on them later. As long as they have the 3 color,
You're good.
you're
right?
good to go.
I mean,
good.
They don't have a real rubric for AMG as far as painting. It just says painted.
Correct.
I think it says painted to a
To a tabletop standard.
quality or something.
And so color is usually a tabletop
just
standard, not
primed,
including your base.
Yeah.
Just primed, right?
No, that is not a.
No, I think they say
It's not a color.
I think they say it has to make sense. Like it has to be in a sense. I can't remember how they word it.
That is, I'm pretty sure, is Adepticon's rule, not AMG's rule, because of Warhammer.
Yeah.
Because people were priming stuff and just putting like 3.
Paint.
Yeah, you're like, oh, here's 3
They weren't
colors.
striking paints. They were just taking their airbrush and like rainbow striping stuff. It's like, what are you doing?
Which, I mean, if you're playing Space Marines and your Space Marines are rainbow striped, sure, whatever.
So is there like an importance of that? Or what's the significance behind it having to be painted? If
there is a best painted for every event.
Okay, but if you're not worried about that, who cares then?
It's part of the hobby.
Yeah, they want their like tournaments to look good. They want everyone that's playing to feel like they're playing like attractive games.
They also stream it, and then that one year they streamed it, and everybody had gray shit on the table. It did.
Okay, so I mean, with that stuff being more like it's going to be viewed by, you know, thousands and thousands of people, I guess that makes sense for that.
I think it's just part of the hobby. Like if you get into this kind of thing, you have to be aware that your stuff has to be painted, with the exceptions. Like A Song of Ice and Fire is an exception. That's the one of the games there that doesn't have to be painted because the models are color coded for your faction.
And I mean, how often? So, like for 40K, I can see it being a situation. Most people playing that probably have had the models for years, right? So they've had time to paint those things.
No. Players switch factions like crazy. I mean, part of the reason why they instituted a rule like this was to limit the whack players, which stands for win at all costs. Now, those are the worst people to play against.
But the models themselves, it's not like there's like new models coming out all the time. How like MCP is constantly having new characters being
New releases all the time.
They
but,
just
like,
do it
how
by
often?
they do it by faction. So like a new
Okay.
codex comes out for them, bam, they got a whole bunch of new models for that range. And that could be the new hotness. You got to pick that up. Another 2 months down the road, a new codex comes out that has new hotness. Then and it's not just like one model. You have to paint squad.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're talking
painting-
about painting 6 models. They have to paint, 40 models.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna start calling you Reynolds.
Okay.
Well, speaking of you,
That's his 40K.
what's going on with you?
I got the exact same lineup as John does. Singles, then doubles, then timeline. And we'll see. Okay, since we're still into Adepticon, I have to say I hate the way they're doing the scheduling this year. Like last year, we played timeline. It was all in one day. There was a day 2 to it, only for the top 8. I got 9th last year, which I'm not bitter about at all. The only thing I'm bitter about is the fact that 2 players didn't show up for the top 8 the next day. It's like, okay, no.
They still beat you somehow. That's crazy.
Yeah. This year, they are splitting it up. So there is 0 chance for you to win at singles and to win timeline.
Okay.
They are on the singles. There's 2 heats. They're taking the top 16 players from each heat, taking it into a top 32. The top 32 plays down on the only day that the heats for timeline are running. So if you're in the top 32, you actually can't participate in timeline.
Well, I mean,
That's a big pool of players that are told, hey, you can't play in an event. Good luck finding something on Saturday.
Especially for an event that I feel like hasn't been received very well. I enjoy Timeline.
I like timeline.
Last year, I went into Timeline like, I think this is a stupid idea. I wasn't for it. I played it. I fucking loved it. I had so much fun playing Timeline. I didn't think I was going to. I thought it sounded dumb. I hated that I couldn't play with the models I wanted to play with, that I was forced into like this little bubble. But then in the end, you played with so many different things and you got out of your comfort zone just playing that meta over and over and over again. And every game was different because every game is a different roster. And if you can't take breaks in all your rosters, what do? Like, it just makes a different way to play the game. And I loved Timeline. I could not say like better things about it, but it still has a stigma to it in the community that people don't like Timeline because they've never played it. However, now if you make it to in the top 32 or whatever in singles, you can't even play Timeline.
now, do you feel like that single should be dropped all to one day, or do you think it should be one day to try to place, and then whoever does place, the next day, and that kind of frees you up?
I mean, that's what they did last year, and I don't know why they changed it. I think they expanded the amount of players that can play now because they have multiple heats for both timeline and for singles, but they did singles where there's one heat Thursday, one heat Friday, and both heats for timeline are just staggered by 1 hour, both running on Saturday.
Now, it's at a new location, correct?
I can't wait to see it, but yeah, they have finally moved out of a hotel and they're in a proper convention center.
So is there potentially a fear that maybe the room size that they're being provided isn't as big?
It better be big.
No, it's going to be way bigger. It's actually across all the different game systems I was watching, because last year I got in the top 3 for Warhammer the first day, and then I switched to MCP for all my events after that. thing that they are doing now for both Warhammer and for all the AMG events is they're playing down to where they're going to try. The finals are going to always be played on Sunday. So the finals for singles is played on Sunday. The finals for timeline is played on Sunday. And they're making them a separate event for the top 2 players to go play at a certain thing. I have a feeling that they're trying to bring in stage venues and they're trying to make it more of an e-sport event where the 2 players will play on an elevated stage and people can come and witness and watch it. I don't agree that this is the direction that we should be doing for wargaming, but I have a feeling that's what they're trying with this year. Because they're doing that for Warhammer, they're doing that for AMG as well.
What's going to pull in more viewership, more wanting of participating in the game, though? So, I mean, if it turns into an esports style, there's going to be more viewership on it.
Is that where we should be concerned with war games is viewership, though?
I guess it really depends on if they're trying to pull to a younger audience or are they trying to get outside of the old guard being the ones that only play the game. I mean, I'm just jumping into 40K for I guess not really the first time, but committing to it now. And it's expensive, and it's a little scary jumping in for the first time. Like, how much do I have to spend? How many models do I need to get?
But is watching those games and those tournaments like gonna change that?
Yeah, that's always really been the role of your local brick and mortar store, is to bring in the new players to, build the communities. That's always been like that role in the...
I think it would do more into sparking interest.
Yeah, but if people are watching, know the rules to the game, how easy do you find those streams to ever follow along? I mean, I know all the rules, and even I can find a lot of the different streams that are lacking in context. You can't hear the players, and the announcers just kind of sitting there talking about random shows that they had the night before.
So if they were able to have commentators or moderators that could present it in the way, there's a battle reports channel that I've been starting to watch for Tyranids, and they do a really good job of when they're interacting with each other on the board, the commentator is saying, all right, well, he needs 3 ups to be able to have these go through.
But those can also be edited versus this is live and a loud event.
But that's why you need a very good commentator to be able to follow the game as it's streamed to do it.
The problem with that is when somebody's doing something or somebody's like making a move, like they're picking up the dice, you don't know if they're using, like let's say we're playing Nova. Nova has 2 regular attacks that are both 0 cost. They didn't take any power off of the character. They're rolling dice. You don't know what the fuck's going on until after it's already happened, kind of thing. There's a lot of guess involved.
You would know a lot with it. Is it a situation where when you're facing your opponent, do you guys kind of know what you're doing without having to say it to each other? Or are you always saying, I'm doing this, here's the roll? And they're saying, all right, well, I have this on my character on this roll.
2 players that are playing in the top 8 of any sort of game system are probably going to know enough about the game to where they can do that. That's not going to translate over a stream.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even still times I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about the game, like MCP, and there's times where my opponent starts doing something. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? What attack are you using? Because there's so many times you're just grabbing dice and throwing dice and moving power around, and it doesn't always translate, but we'll see how it goes.
In this community, it's not filled with introverts at all. Everyone's really good at communicating in this community.
I also think that the streams and stuff like that are actually kind of like a hindrance on things. So what happens is I feel like some people get into the game and they're just so gung-ho about like they're a try hard. They want to win really bad. Like they want to get into the game, play the best thing right away, that it causes when they look and they're like, oh, here's the top 2 tables at LVO. Bam, I'm playing this right away. Instead of playing what you want to play, what you're probably going to enjoy, or trying different things, you go straight to that. I'm playing this. That's it. And that's because the guy at LVO played this and it should be good. But that's also not how it works, because this game, the pilot is a major factor in this game.
I also think it leverages to the person that is used to that atmosphere more. So if you have someone that's used to being on top tables, used to being recorded, they're going to play at a higher level than a person who's never been on a top table, never been on camera, worried about every little thing they're doing, worried about messing up.
Right. Or someone that doesn't even want to be on camera.
Want to be on camera, correct. So I do think it gives a little bit of an advantage to the person that is used to that atmosphere.
And if you're on that camera, you are going to be picked apart.
Yeah.
Do not mess up a single thing or you are going to be hailed as a cheater for the rest of time.
That's the only time I know when something's going on the streams is when everybody starts to call somebody a cheater. And then I'm like, oh, I guess that guy's just a cheater and scumbag.
Right. Accidents happen.
I feel like I'm being called out here.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what they can do to try to drum up. I know you said with your local game stores, how do you pull young people who aren't actively looking at going to a game store to want to try to find one in their town and go look into these kind of games?
You don't think a Twitch stream is really going to do anything.
Correct.
You have to find the Twitch stream, and only people that care about the game are going to find it.
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes down to word of mouth. I mean, talking to people, not being ashamed that you're a gamer and bringing conversations up at work. And then all of a sudden you find out there's a couple other people that are gamers and they might play one game and you're like, oh, I'll come play that game. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, why don't you try this game? And then that's how things are
I mean, that's how it started here. I bought MCP and I basically forced everybody to play it with me. And now everybody plays it.
Yeah, I was swearing I was never buying it. And you're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to buy all the characters and people can just use mine.
I mean, it took me a whole year before I bought a single character because I was still holding out hope that someone would want to play Warhammer still, but I guess not.
All right. So I got to ask the Crossroads question because we can't have, a cast.
Okay.
Crossroads question. So this timeline, there's a lot of big boys. There's a lot of the higher threat levels. It has a lot of the kaijus. So I wanted to try to do something along those lines. So the question is only going to refer to released characters at this current moment.
So no Gladiator, because Gladiator's the obvious choice here.
Correct. How many characters in 2025 time?
Large. Okay.
That's a tough one. I'd have to think of large characters to begin with.
Without looking at the list, obviously.
Without looking at the list.
So I have no idea who's really on the timelines.
I know everything on the timeline. It's just I'm trying to think of who's on large versus mediums.
Always go high. I have 5 in my head, so I'm going to go with 6.
Swooper logging in at 6.
5 in your head?
Yes.
Because Wrecking Crew's on a medium, right? That's not a special.
There's my one I was missing.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure he's on a large base, so it's 4 characters.
That's a large base?
They are
pretty sure. I know it's a custom.
Well, we're going to know after this, I guess. Yeah.
There's my extra one that I forgot. So you always go high. So in reality, I should have guessed 7, but I'll stick with 6.
I mean, I know Hulk, Malekith, Abomination.
Don't read them out.
Oh, shit, I know.
Thank you. Nice.
See?
Give me that extra one I was looking for. I'm going to say 5.
I'm going to say 8.
Well, it's definitely more than 5.
It's definitely more than 5.
The answer is 9.
Well,
There you go.
It is Abomination, Apocalypse, Black Dwarf,
Black Dwarf, I left him off.
Cosmic Ghost Rider,
missed him.
Had
Hulk,
Yeah.
Hulk Buster, Juggernaut,
Oh,
Malekith,
I missed Juggernaut.
and the Wrecking Crew.
I missed Juggernaut. I'm even playing Brotherhood. My dumbass missed Juggernaut.
I don't know. I mean, that's why I got the Wrecking Crew is like, I'm like, okay, Juggernaut.
So Sean won with the guess of 8, closest to 9.
Does Wrecking Crew move medium?
Yeah,
Okay.
they haul ass.
They're cool.
All right.
They're a lot of fun to play on the fucking board. I think they hit really hard. They don't take a hit too well, but they'll usually put out hurting before they go down. And they can haul ass on the board. And they look awesome.
Okay.
I think they killed it with like the 4 guys on with all their different costumes on that one base. That is a solid way because I never thought in a million years that was one of my wish list teams was the Wrecking Crew. I was like, there's no way in hell it's ever going to happen. And now this idea of putting 4 characters on one base to count as one single guy just means that like I think Warriors 3 is the prime example of the next one. That's going to be 3 characters on a single base to count as one model instead of making, because you would never make each warrior a separate model. It would just be silly.
Multiple man.
Well, multiple man better have grunts. He better be regular guy and then have a whole bunch of multiple man grunts. That's what I want.
But I'm sad that we didn't get Novacore grunts, to be honest with you.
AIM grunts is the one that I can't believe didn't happen.
AIM lackeys was like the kick in the nuts. Like,
How he came as leadership for AIM and did not come with AIM lackeys.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me. And I feel like we're not going to get them because I don't think we're going to get a 3rd MODOK. I feel like 2 MODOKs is enough, kind of thing. It's not like Captain America we're going to get 1,000 Spider-Man, 1,000 Captain America.
And especially with him able to deflect attacks on somebody near him.
Right.
Like, it was perfect to
Well,
have him have AIM lackeys out there.
And his leadership is AIM.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was in the design space originally and they're like, it's too good and we have to cut it.
Fuck it, make him another point and put him back in. I thought it'd been awesome. Granted, like, what would you do with the AIM lackeys to make them different is the real question. I'm sure there's 1,000.
I'm sure there is.
I would be all for them because they would look ridiculous too. You ever see what an AIM lackey looks like? They look like they're in radiation suits from like fucking Back to the Future. They all have like that weird helmet with the little gas mask thingies on them. They're all yellow. They're pretty crazy.
They look like characters from the back rooms.
Yeah, it's exactly what they look like, but yellow.
Okay.
So digressing back just a little bit,
Oh, did you want my affiliation?
I want your affiliations. I wonder who you're actually taking.
Well, so depending on the outcome of LVO and whether or not they take a giant nerfed bat to Thor 2, then Asgard would be 1.
Okay.
I have Midnight Suns and Defenders as 2. Right now, I'm practicing as a 3rd roster as a Black Order / Guardians of the Galaxy, but I have a feeling that with the amount of releases going into Inhumans is going to be like an auto take. I could be wrong, but there's 4 heroes coming out in that affiliation and a brand new leader. I have a feeling that they're going to be probably really good.
Right. And 3 of those models are not going to be like dog shit. Like the way the models have been coming out recently, especially 4s, like Karnak and Gorgon are probably going to be 4s. And the way 4s have been going lately, they're going to be really good. 4s, I feel like, have been, I don't want to say overtuned, but pretty solid.
And then we, of course, have Gladiator still coming out, and who knows where he slots in, but he'll probably be another pickup that you'll almost certainly need.
He's going to be your next character that gets nerfed. Like, he's going to come out and be a fucking menace on the board, and he's going to be the next character that has to be nerfed.
But he's going to be the menace for Adepticon.
He's going to come out and ruin Adepticon.
No, absolutely. So I already know that he's going to slot in somewhere.
Well, I am surprised that they decided to stick with unaffiliated. I really thought that was going to go away. Would there have been any affiliations that they might have thrown him into?
Well, there can be affiliations that are not in Timeline that he can slot into.
Okay.
Because not every affiliation's in Timeline.
Correct, but even the affiliations that aren't in Timeline, he wouldn't slot into. He's just part of the Shire Empire, and I don't think you're going to get very many other characters from the Shire Empire. Unless we do like Starjammers is a good one that could come out, which is Cyclops' dad and a bunch of other like pirates from space. They could be a thing at one point, but Gladiator still wouldn't be a Starjammer. I think Gladiator is destined just to stay in that unaffiliated range, which is weird because we took Punisher out of unaffiliated.
Yes. Yep.
And I feel like he should have just stayed there. Even though you say he's a defender because of the show and whatnot, he does his own thing.
But he needed something. I guess their solution was
Just do it.
That
I
did
know.
not help him.
Their solution was make him affiliated so that the cards work on him.
Then you should have made him rogue agent. That's what you should have done with him.
But the defender's cards wouldn't work on him.
That's okay. If you would have made him a rogue agent and he was able to go anywhere and still be affiliated, that would have upped his play by a lot, I think.
Do you think Gladiator will come out as a rogue agent?
No.
So he'll just be
He's going to be like a 7
or 8.
He's got to be somewhere up there. He's outrageously overpowered and strong. He'll put Hulks to shame kind of thing. So he's going to be, could you imagine a rogue agent 7 cost running around? Could you imagine if Immortal Hulk was a rogue agent?
no. Yeah, that'd be bad. That'd be real bad.
We Thanos, basically.
Fancy. But
Do you think anybody's just not going to take Thanos?
I mean, if
Oh, you're not?
if I take Inhumans, then yeah, he's dropped.
I think he's very good. I just hate Black Order. I hate the models. I hate the characters. I like Thanos as a character, but like Corvus, Proxima, Black Door, fuck all them. Those characters are so dumb.
I'm assuming Thanos is going to be put into a lot of like Guardians roster.
I think he's gonna get dipped. I think
He'll Flash.
people are gonna put them in their rosters.
Did you say dip?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
made up something.
Yeah,
He's Roger Rabbiting over there.
Whatever, we got my own word. I don't care.
Dip.
But no, I mean he'll get splashed into other affiliations and
I
roster.
don't really think he does. The thing is that you usually build a roster around Thanos, and that's not the character pool that you have.
He's such a good control piece, though.
That's great, but you don't have the ability to, like, he's really popular in Red Skull 3. You don't have that option. You need to control a piece.
Go ahead.
What?
I was gonna sneeze, and I'm trying really hard not to sneeze at the same time.
Like, a lot of the control is he moves your characters where they need to be. He moves their characters either into a kill box or out into no man's land. And you can still play them that way. It's just that if you're not playing with Black Order like Corvus or something, you don't have the murder tools that you have in any other, like in a bigger roster pool.
I think he's in Guardians.
Yeah, that's
That's the only place where I see him going. It's Guardian, and that's why I have him in a Guardians/Black Order. Because at 16 threat, I love Black Order. At 17 threat, I don't love Black Order.
Yeah, I think he gets splashed into every Guardian. Like, every Guardians player is going to splash Thanos.
Is there any other low-cost leaders?
No. I mean, he's the only 3. Everything else,
The only 3 in Midnight Suns has wars.
I was gonna say a Midnight Sun
That's
has
it.
4.
The majority of the other ones are all large cost characters. Magneto, Malekith, Hulkbuster. They're all
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Namor.
Namor is a 5. Apocalypse.
You're not gonna run. You're gonna run Shield. There's 4 affiliated characters.
I'm gonna run Shield.
You can run Shield with your 4 characters.
I would. It's so unfortunate that, like, you gave me 4 characters and you had to make one of them She-Hulk. So, like, I already have Namor, and then I have to take another 6 cost on top of Namor. And it's like, well, you got Taskmaster or Agent Venom. And I'm like, great.
X-Men.
X-Men I could see using Thanos.
Because they have Cyclops as their leader. So.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna see a lot of X-Men just because
I don't either.
we saw a lot of X-Men last year, right? Because that was the timeline pool was all about small guys. This is all about like just beat sticks.
Well, timeline was weird. So we saw a lot of characters that you would be like, get out of here. You put that character on the table and like, it's just surprised. So like Shadow King, you saw Shadow King. I saw Shadow King. He's horrible.
He had just come out though. So maybe people just didn't know that he was that bad. I was actually really shocked at the amount of the amount of King T'Challa's that were splashed in time such year.
He's really good.
So I didn't realize he was that good of a splash.
He's in my shield.
I played Claw and absolutely obliterated someone playing Claw.
I did very well with Claw and Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, Claw with Elektra was boss.
Real quick flash round. Who are you most excited about not seeing in timeline?
Not seeing in time. Oh shit.
Oh, as in like what is not on the timeline?
That is
Got
not
you.
there. Quick answer.
Probably Immortal Hulk, to be honest.
Yeah, if it's quick answer, it's Immortal Hulk.
I'm gonna go with Shang-Chi.
That's a good one. All right. Well, see, you had that canned.
Yep, I agree with you on that one.
That wasn't a quick answer. Gary's been sitting there thinking about it for the last fucking 10 minutes.
I know, that's why I said he had it canned.
I was gonna say that, or Steve won Avengers.
To be fair, if you both said Shang-Chi, I was gonna say Immortal Hulk just to have a different answer.
I mean, those are the two, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
those two are definitely up there as like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, is there certain leaders that you're happy aren't going to be in this one?
I think it's really weird. Like we had already talked about it. Like all of the leaders, like Hulkbuster is the only option for Avengers. Like,
yeah,
there's no Mystiques. You're looking at what, 4 sixes with Apocalypse leaders, and then you have 1/5 in Namor. You have
Dracula.
Dracula, another 5. They took out Mephisto, which I was actually really excited about Mephisto being in there because I'm like, oh, cool. Look, two affiliations that you don't have to try with.
2 4s in the same faction, a 3 in Guardians. The 2 4s are in Midnight. And then it depends on what Maximus is. Maximus in Inhumans is a 4.
He's probably going to be a 5, just knowing how they do in humans, but he should be a full.
Annoying.
It would be.
So there's a lot of leaders that weren't in last year, not in this year. Do you think they're just past forever? Do you think we'll ever see them? Like, do you think they'll ever bring Kingpin in? Or, I mean, I'm sure.
I think this is the last trial year for the format. I think AMG is going to base, because, I mean, no one else ran Timeline. I think there's one other event that ran Timeline that was not Adepticon last year.
Yeah.
And that was somewhere in Europe, and I forgot which tournament that was.
It doesn't work for local.
It does not.
It's too complicated for a local tournament, I feel like. I think Nova could run it. And I think it would do good at Nova if it's hyped up enough. Like every time I talk to people about, I tell them like, you may think it sounds stupid. I'm telling you, you're gonna have fucking fun playing.
Yeah, I mean, LVO could probably also run it.
Oh yeah.
Any of the
I thought LBO did.
LVO ran an unofficial.
they were in an
year.
official one last year. Yeah,
But that was because that was before it came out.
Correct.
Versus now it's technically
Well,
fair game.
the new year doesn't start until Adepticon, I believe.
So they're still playing old lists.
So they, as far as I understood it, Adepticon starts the new year.
well, that would make sense because the roster's literally built for characters that would be released by Adepticon.
Yeah, so like technically we're still in the 2024 timeline.
I think it says on the papers somewhere.
But I'm just interested. So let's say they keep it going. Like, would we ever go backwards to older characters
Yeah, absolutely.
for leaderships?
Yeah, I think each year they're going to cycle through stuff and they're going to change it. So like, Convocation still has never made the list.
Yeah. Spider Foes, I don't believe have
Spider Post was in last year. Yeah, and played Claw. I know that's Criminal Syndicate.
criminals.
I played
Spider Foes were. I played Spider Foes.
I played Spider Post. Yeah, it was Doc Ock.
I played Goblin.
Okay.
Does there seem to be a rhyme or reason of who they pick?
They say there is, but there's not.
In the first one, it kind of seemed like they were using it to trim down the Bogeyman format because people were really heavily complaining about it's all about attrition and it's all about the big boys. So they literally cut every big boy out of the game.
And I loved it.
I loved it. Now, I think a lot of people bitched about it at Adepticon last year, saying like, oh, I have to play nothing but, extracts because everything was extract focused. Like every roster was.
This year,
Can't just
I guess, going to be a lot more attrition.
It's going to be so attrition heavy.
Which surprises me that Red Skull 3 is not in there.
So
Because 2 is.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, they only put one of any character in there.
Except Angel and Archangel.
It's
It's a different.
It's weird. It's weird. It also allows you to play Angel's card. So if you couldn't take Archangel, then you couldn't play Fallen. So I think that's the reason that they're in there like that, is so that card can be played to make, to do what Angel does.
is that true though?
Yeah.
I mean, would it really work that way though? Because if you're changing him into Archangel, it doesn't necessarily mean he has to be a playable character, right?
Yes, it does. You can't just change him into a character that's not allowed in timeline.
Well,
If Archangel's not allowed in
he wouldn't be allowed to be like a starting character until you couldn't have him be someone you bring just right off the bat. But changing a character into him, would that count still though? I would feel like it would count that you can actually change a character into another character even if they're not on the timeline.
No, I don't think so. Because if you're not on the timeline, then your character card technically doesn't exist. So you can't change into something that doesn't exist.
So without Angel, you can't become Archangel.
Correct.
Well, yes, I understand.
Without
that.
Archangel being in the timeline, you can't use Fallen. So then you would just take Fallen out of Timeline's tactics cards. The other thing, by the way, that is weird about Timeline that we didn't bring up is Sword Base is gone.
Researcher.
No,
No.
research.
No,
It's there. It's not restricted. Sword is gone.
Oh, I thought Researcher was gone.
No, and the reason why they did that is they only won 115 secure and 115 extract.
Is that possibly just to either keep it uniform, or is it because they wanted higher point values because of how many big guys are coming this time?
Even last year they did eliminate one of the secures or extracts. I forgot which one it was. They always take it down to you only have 9 options, or you have 10 options. I think you have to play all but one scenario.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was a weird one to like just randomly, like if you weren't looking and you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh shit.
I mean, everyone hates 15s. I mean, Asgard loves 15s, but generally the player base hates 15s. I would be fine to see them go.
Agreed. I can't stand them. I think they're not fun.
I mean, look at last year's LVO. The mere Star-Lord, Cosmic, and Hulk. There you go. 15s. Love it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I want more stuff on the table. I think you should have more models on the table.
Gas up.
I think you should also have a limitation of like how many of any threat you can take. Like you can take a 86, but you can't take a second 6.
I feel like taking multiple 6s would work in some instances. So like Sentinels is a weird one where they're 4 cost, which I think is
Sorry,
weird.
what affiliation are you talking about?
Yeah, but like if Sentinels were all 6s, well, I think they should be all 5s, honestly.
And just be playable.
Correct. And I think that's okay, where you could be like, I'm playing with all 5s and they're all Sentinels and they're all just big badass robots kind of thing, the way that they should be. But You know, I can see the same thing. I don't know what a better example would be for it to be like sixes, you know.
Well, I'm not just talking about sixes, but saying you have one slot that you're allowed to put a 6+ character in, and you have 2 slots available to a 5, and then everything else you can fill out. So that way you
Yeah,
can't
like
take
1, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way you can't just take all 5 pluses.
And all the Asgard players just cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck them.
That's right. We hate the Asgard players.
I mean, they've been ruining the meta for what, 6 to 8 months now. I think they've had their time.
And
Get out of here.
and you've heard it here first. Reynolds Rap hates Asgards.
I will be,
And Reynolds Rap is playing Asgard in timelines.
but not happily.
I really hate these guys. How many people did I daze this turn?
And what were we talking about earlier that we were trying to hold off on?
Master Mold.
There is a random ultimate encounter at Adepticon, something Master Mold. And if you know anything about me, I love Sentinels. I have a Master Mold table that I bring to like all the tournaments and everything. This is an unreleased ultimate encounter. I have no clue what it is. And now we're just kind of like speculating, what could it be? Is it just a box, just like the Peter Parker or the Magneto or the Juggernaut one? Is it just a box that comes with stuff? But I feel like it has to come with something more because Master Mold is such a large character. How are you going to represent that on the board?
Unless you don't represent them on the board and you just keep on spawning Sentinels on the board.
That's
and say,
during if it's just like Sentinels keep coming in off the table edge.
Okay, I'm gonna wish it like and hope it's the way that I want it to be.
you want a train set that has him?
100% give me a Sentinel terrain set. Like, go to Adepticon. I want to go to one of the boards and be like, get the fuck out of here. Look at that thing. And it's a giant Sentinel robot. I don't give a shit how much it costs. Put it on. You tell me it's $200. I'll buy that motherfucker.
It's like Dracula's castle big.
Yeah.
You know.
I want that thing to be huge. I'm all for having him on the board. And then you buy that set and you get like a Nimrod or you get something that you can add to Sentinels. Just give me something for them, for fuck's sake.
You want to see John completely pissed off at Adepticon? Watch them have the table, but it's tickets only.
I'm okay not playing in it. I just
No. You can buy.
And it's going to be like 200 tickets. It's going to be an impossible number.
Oh,
of
there's
tickets.
one individual that you know will be able to get enough tickets for it.
Country Mary will get all the tickets, but she also has a family collecting tickets.
Yes, she does.
So
I will make you a deal. If that's the scenario, I will give you all of my tickets for it.
And he'll still be 200 tickets short.
we didn't get to lot of it. We played, I think, all weekend, and I barely got 12 fucking dice, okay? All weekend of play to get 12 blue dice. Then you go to Nova, and they just handing them out for free. Then they don't mean anything anymore.
They were a new exclusive release for that year's Adepticon.
They were.
And then they just started handing them out to every GT that applied.
It was worth hot money for like
You see on eBay, they were freaking $400 for a set.
How do you know if they come out with another color? Sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year, hot pink.
No, I think it'll be yellow.
That's so ugly.
Yeah, but it would be the 3 different defenses.
Yeah, physical, mystic, and energy.
However, I wish they would come out with a swirly red to match the swirly blue that they have currently.
Yeah.
And I'd be fine with that too. I do think yellow would be fucking hideous though.
Yeah, it'd be impossible to see.
They'd have to be like gold.
They could be gold, but if they're yellow, then they probably put like blue pips on it. It'd look like,
Or this.
Right.
There are no pips.
well, you know what I mean.
Get
Symbols.
Warhammer out of your head.
It's the live and die by a D6. Screw your D8s.
You know, we just played 2 games of the thing, and we did live and die about the D6.
It's true.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we're sitting with 2 invitations right now.
I'm gonna be so fucking mad if they're tickets.
I had to pull it out there just to piss you off.
He's going to be thinking about that for the rest of the weekend.
Well, because I was trying to figure out, like, they haven't announced anything, so are they doing tickets again like they did last year? So we wanted the blue dice. That was our huge thing, is we wanted those fucking blue dice, because I'm so sick and tired of having everybody has the same amount of dice. What do you make your face?
Someone's breathing. That's all. I was just like, who's breathing?
All of them. And they had other things, like they had a Wakanda mat. I didn't really care for the Wakanda mat, but they had a Danger Room mat, and that was pretty cool looking. But it was at like an outrageous amount of
It was like 400 tickets, which was
it was 80 tickets.
no, it was way more than 80 because
Well, either way.
it was 2 dice for 10 tickets. Or was it 20 tickets for 2
No,
decks?
you're right. You're right. It was because it was 5. It was, you had to get them in 2.
You had to get them in 2s.
And they were essentially 5 tickets. So every game you played, you got 5 tickets. If you won, you got a single ticket, which is the stupidest thing. Because you know you have to win. It's so many more.
And there was nothing to spend a single ticket on.
This was the dice were the cheapest thing you could spend stuff on. Oh,
No, the holographic gems.
well, those were dumb. I didn't get those. So we played all weekend to get 5 tickets. I had to play each game just to get 1 die out of the whole weekend. Every game I played got me 1 single blue die. And then it's like, do you want the mat? I hope you had fucking 6 people playing, because you're never going to get that many fucking tickets.
The only reason why I had enough tickets, because I did not play in the singles event because I was playing Warhammer last Adepticon. The only reason why I had enough dice to buy 10 was I kept on going to all the judges saying I lost my tickets.
Oh, he was peddling.
As you're shoving more in your pockets. I lost.
It's on record now.
Was Adepticon the convention that you guys ended up having? God, what was I going to say?
To buy a new suitcase to come home with because we got too much swag? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
If you go to Adepticon, buy that super ticket. That is crazy value.
There was only 400 left when I got in at 1:30.
Yeah, half an hour into the tickets, it went from what?
2,000.
2,000 down to 400 in a half an hour. That was nuts. It's only an extra, it's not even
$100. I think
something like that.
I think it's like $85 or $100 extra to get the premium swag bag. And last year, I mean, that $100 was covered by one item in the thing that neither of us wanted that we sold.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably like $300 or $400 worth of merchandise in that bag.
And AMG did not skip.
No, they had 2 boxes for MCP, 2 boxes for Shatterpoint in every single, and 1 box for Legion in every single swag bag that you got.
That's really good.
And that doesn't even include the stuff GW put in.
Yeah, GW Combat Patrol that retails for $125 in there.
So you already made up all your money. And then we got a brand new game. Was it like Team Yankee game or something, like some tank game?
It was some Battle for Tank thing that we sold, and that's what covered the cost of the bag itself. And then we also got a Battletech box, which
Whoopee.
yeah,
What the hell did I do with that?
I sold it at the flea market.
Oh,
You left it on the side of the road when you
I
guys
don't
left.
remember that.
You sold yours, and then I got stuck with mine because no one wanted the second box of the starter Battletech.
You should have just said buy one, get one free.
I got another one at Games and Stuff.
Oh, at Games and Stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I got another Battletech box.
I also want to tell you that at the Games and Stuff thing, I didn't know this till I had already gotten there. So remember I said, get the stuff for like this, you get the swag bag or whatever. It's supposed to be a lot of stuff. It was like, it's okay. You got a whole like army painter paint set. That was a pretty solid like giveaway for only spending like $100. The rest of the stuff in there was just like, it was nothing for me. But when I got there, somebody said, oh yeah, if you buy your ticket, so I had my ticket, that also covers a second person. You would have not gotten a swag bag.
Oh, but I could have gotten in
Could
free.
have came with me to buy stuff. But I literally found out 30 minutes before we're getting ready to go in. Someone's like, oh yeah, you get to bring, because you're allowed to bring your spouse, but it doesn't have to be your spouse. You can just bring a friend. They just don't get the bag.
So you could have called me at 5 a.m.
You would have never answered.
I would have
Phone, answer a text. So I think that's all we got for this week.
A reminder about first tournament at Huzzah.
We do. We have our first tournament for the Mid-Atlantic Crisis Cup coming up here in February 1st. Will be the first event. It is currently sold out. However, if you're hearing this and you want to play, get on that waiting list. Somebody will drop out. We always lose a couple here and there to family emergencies, wives making plans on you, who knows what, kids. So go ahead and put yourself on that waiting list and just wait for us to let you know. It is sold out right now at 32 people. That's our max that we can possibly fit in the area. So it's going to be a large event. And we plan on doing 3 more after this to end out the year, technically 5 with the last chance. But there'll be events going on throughout the year, so you just stay with us, and you'll hear about all the events and get your hookup quick.
And hopefully we will have blue dice available at some of those events if we get the GT status.
I'm just waiting for the email back. I sent it out in November, and they're taking their sweet time to tell me if our last 2 events will be GTs. And I'm also hoping to make them LVO qualifiers
That'd be nice.
to be extra enticing. So stay tuned for that. We're still looking for our second location. I have not figured that out yet.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure.
There's some choices.
Yeah,
All right, Gary, you want to sign us off?
absolutely. Hope everybody had an amazing holidays. We thank you again for tuning in. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, if my questions are ever inaccurate, which I doubt they ever are, feel free to reach out, leave some comments, leave some questions, and reach out to our Discord. We appreciate every one of you. Thanks. Have a great night.
See ya.